I come down, I'm going to open up my TCOM viewer, and I want to connect to this panel for the first time. So I'm going to use this green add site. You always want to automate it if at all possible. So I'm going to do a connection over a cell modem. So this will work for a cell modem or like a local network connection if they have all the port forwarding set up correctly. It says IP or host name here. I'm just going to type in the IP address of the cell modem. And the port number for the board. Any new board is always 2023. I'm going to change it to WAN. And I've already got my logon name and password down here, but if you don't, that's where you'd fill it out. You don't have to put anything in the expanded description. That is just an identifier for your site. So in the background here, you'll see I have a bunch of sites. This is the expanded info. It's unique to only your TCOM viewer, so nobody else will ever see that. So for this, I just put test track. I'll hit OK. I want WAN. I'm going to hit connect. And down here in the lower left, you'll see the details. So right now it's trying, it's working on it. Got logon 1, so that means it hit the board, it made the connection, it's exchanging username, password. Once you get to logon 2, it'll just proceed and move forward. So during the automate connect, you'll notice that it had a disconnect down there. That is completely normal. It's going to go through, it's going to get all this information, auto-populate the custom number, quote number. It's got my expanded info that I put in there. I'll hit OK. And it says this is our duplicate. Just because I already had this, I'm going to hit yes. If you didn't already have a site, it'll just say new site created, which you'll see in a minute. New site added, OK. And it added it right here. So there's a couple different ways. You could either double click it, or you could just highlight it, and down here in the lower left, you could hit connect. Make sure your connection type, your choice is correct. You can hit connect, and you'll see it go through the same process down here, except this time it won't disconnect. This is all connecting to their panel through the internet. This is the main run mode menu. Typically, anything an operator is going to want to do is all going to be in number 1. And on the computer, so there's no mouse, it's all keyboard prompts. So if I press number 1 on the keyboard, it's going to take me into system status displays. Press number 1, comes in here. When you're inside, when you're logged into the panel, this page right here, this page select menu, this is the only menu in the program that is case sensitive. So you've got lowercase on the left, uppercase on the right. So if I press capital N, it's going to take me to digital inputs over here on the right. See the status of the digital inputs. So you can see what your floats are doing. You'll notice there's a few things here. You've got point number on the far left, and then description, the value that it's currently in, or the state, the status that it's in, the current time and previous time. So right here for point number 563, the RT redundant offload level alarm, it currently says it's on. That is telling us the float's up. The status is A. And if you look down here, you've got a little key. So A is auto. So that means it's an automatic. So that is being controlled by the float. There's no point overrides. So it's currently on, and its current time, it's been on for 8 minutes, 8 minutes, 43 seconds. Before it went on, it was previously off for 1 minute, 36 seconds. So using the tab button, you can tab down, or down arrow, up arrow will do the same thing. But one thing to note, if you do the up arrow or down arrow, it's actually hitting enter at the same time. So if I wanted to tab down to one of these other floats and I wanted to override it on, you can see down here you've got A equals auto, so we know A is automatic. O equals on, F equals off. You can ignore the yes and no. Those are very rarely used. The C is constant, P is point, T is timer, M is menu, S is set point. So if I wanted to override this point on, I could do it a couple different ways. I could do an O enter. It'll override that point on. One thing to note is this is overridden now. So it will not be controlled by the float. If the float is down, it doesn't know that. It is only going to know what this override is telling it. So if I want to change that back to A for automatic, I can just do A, enter. See it go off after this next scan. One that I want to touch on here is this T for timer. So if I wanted to do a T for timer, do T, enter, it's going to give me this override value. It's going to say on, off, or a label. So if I wanted this to be overridden on, I would do an O, enter, and then it's going to ask me, how long do you want to override it for? Do 15 seconds. Because you'll notice anything you enter without a colon is going to be in seconds. So if you do 15 seconds, it will override this on for 15 seconds. You'll notice here on the left, there's a countdown timer started. So when this 15 seconds elapses, this will revert back to the previous state. So now you'll see that 15 seconds has elapsed. It's back and off. So that comes in handy if I'm going to hit escape real quick. Escape will go back one menu. And I'm going to go into here where it says R for digital outputs. We get this every once in a while where you're remote from the panel, you know it's in high level, the timers aren't keeping up, but you need to turn a pump on. But you don't want to override it on permanently, because if you can't make a connection back to that panel, now that pump is stuck on. So I would do a T for timer, an O for on, and override my pump on for 20 seconds or however long you wanted it to be. That pump will run for 20 seconds and then automatically revert back to the automatic state. It's a safe way of doing a point override remotely, just a timed override. I'm going to press escape again. It'll always go back a menu. We'll go into lowercase g for recirc manual timer. So here's where all your timer settings would be. This is just a typical time dose recirc. So you've got a few different timer selections here. You got manual off time, manual override off, on time, and override on time. What those are is you've got your normal off time. And that's going to be in normal conditions. These are the timers it's going to run. It'll go through an off cycle and then run the pump for the on cycle. It's got an override time. So if the normal timers aren't keeping up and it hits an override float, it will switch to a secondary timer set to an accelerated timer and run an override cycle to help keep up with higher flows. So if I wanted to change this, I would do a C for constant. Do a C for constant, hit enter, and it's going to say enter constant value. So it was previously 6.6 minutes. We'll just do 5, call it something simple. See that time change to 5 minutes. We can hit tab. We can change this to 3 minutes. Hit enter. I'll hit tab again. I'm good with my on times being 1.5 minutes. You've got a lag feature. If you wanted lag on or off, you can change that. So if I didn't want to run lag, I could do an F, enter. And no worries if it doesn't take on the first time you try to do an override. You'll notice that it's always scanning in the background, and you may catch it in between a scan. I'll try to do that here real quick. Do an O, enter. You notice it didn't take. I caught it right in between scan. So I'll put this back to automatic. Didn't take. Just do it over again until it does take. You're just not doing it quick enough. So there it's stuck. It's back in auto. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to hit escape one more time. You'll notice we're back to the main run mode menu. Down here, we've got mailbox targets. It's an M. So if I press M on the keyboard, it's going to bring up a little selection here where you got some mailboxes. So if I'm an operator and I need to set this up for email notifications, I could come in here, press number 1 for mailbox number 1, hit enter, and I could type in an email address. That would be completely fine right there. I could hit enter, it'll take that. If I wanted to make a custom message down here, alarm from test panel. So during an alarm, when this sends out a notification, it will send it to support@orencocontrols.com, and in the body of the email, it'll say alarm from test panel. So you can customize that message. Hit escape, go back to the main run mode menu. Anytime you make any changes in the panel, you want to come back to this page, and you can just keep hitting escape 100 times if you wanted. It'll always bring you as far back as it can. So from here, you'll notice number 6 says back program up to flash. So that's basically doing a save. So if I hit number 6, say please wait. Good save. You want it to say good save. Sometimes you will see this say bad save or something. If it says that, just hit 6 again. From here, it's kind of stuck. You just have to hit any key, and then it'll go back. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to go in and view logs and reports. So if you're needing log data, you can do it 2 ways. First way, you can hit number 4 here. It says expanded reports menu. So I'll hit 4. It'll bring you to a separate screen. We want to look at user logs to get your system information. So I hit 3. Here's where all your logs would be. So if you're wanting like pump information, flow information, you've got, depending on your panel, it's all custom. But they'll be here usually in log 17 and above. And so if you wanted to get your total flow for the day, you could type in 24 for log number 24, hit enter, and you'll see whatever data is available there. This is a test panel, so it hasn't been on for very long. I'm done looking at this, so I can hit escape. I can go back in. I can look at a different log if I wanted. Press 17, for example, hit enter. So this will show you, you've got, I went into the research pump 1. So you've got the total counts for the day, the time it's ran, the flow, and the average amps. I'll hit escape. I'll hit escape again, back to the run mode menu. The second way to do this is I'll go into number 1, system status displays. And you just have to be on any page in here. I'll just do lowercase a for system status. And from here, I'm going to do
an M for menu and hit enter. So if I do M, enter, brings me to a menu. And you'll see over here, you've got user logs is U. So if I do U for user logs, it comes into the same screen as before. So I can go into log 24, I can hit enter, shows you my total count, total time, total flow for the discharge. If I hit escape, it'll bring me right back to the log page. I can choose another log, escape again, brings me back to the menu, hit escape one more time, and it'll bring me back to the system status. This is the way that I prefer to do it, just because a lot of your work's going to be done in this page select menu. You know, you're going to be navigating through pages, and so it'll bring you right back here where you ended up. Now, if you needed to download a log, you can be on any of the pages. I just hit escape back to the run mode menu. But up here at the top, you've got these different tabs where it says logs and plots. If you click logs and plots, and on the bottom left, you've got user logs. So click that. I'll click show user logs. And it's going to ask me, what log do I want? I want log 23. I'm going to choose the entire log. And if you have fast file transfer, go ahead and use it. I'll hit OK. And you'll see down here in the lower left, it's going back through a logon process. It's just getting all this data from the panel. It's retrieving it right now. Be patient and wait. And it's got it all. So the whopping 2 logs. And if you wanted to save this, you could save it to an Excel file. So you could hit export, call it whatever you want. And make sure you choose somewhere where you know it's going to end up being. So if you save it, now it's going to be saved on my desktop. So I can open this up, go to my desktop, and I'll see test panel log. Open that up now. And it'll give you some information on here. Like I said, this is Excel, so you can edit and manipulate this stuff if you need, create your spreadsheets. It'll give you the date, the time, and what the columns were, and what the values were. From here, we're still on logs and plots. You can just tab right back to terminal view, and you'll be right back at the panel. You can come back into number 1 if you need to do work or whatever you need to do. So the easiest way to set your time and date is up here. Most people aren't going to have this advanced tab. This is what we would be using to load and unload the program. But you have file actions and help is what you'll have. Actions, you have set TCOM clock. So if you click set TCOM clock, so what this is going to do is it's actually going to sync up with your computer and pull the time and date off your computer. But it gives you the ability to change this. So say I'm in a different time zone than the panel. I can come in here and I can say, actually, this is 10:34 because it's 3 hours ahead. And this is military time. So it's a 24-hour clock. Say set TCOM clock. And it's going to go through and set everything. And to verify that, I'll go back into number 1, press any of these page menus again, and you'll notice right here, now it says Tuesday 2/18, 10:34. And I'll go back, hit an escape, hit escape again, and I'll do a number 6 to save it. From here, we're pretty much done in TCOM Viewer. So you'll see there's a C, disconnect, leave, and there's a disconnect up here. The proper way to disconnect would be hitting the C. So what that is, you type in C and it tells the board, hey, I'm ready to disconnect. You can disconnect from me. If something happens and it freezes up or you lose your connection and it's just frozen, you can't do anything,
by all means hit the red disconnect. But if at all possible, always come back to this menu and hit C disconnect leave. And it will, you'll see down there, said error, lost connection, and disconnecting.